Very good. Well, thank you very much. It's a delight to visit with you. And first thing I want to do is thank everybody for their enthusiasm, their support, both the volunteer work, the enthusiasm, and also the many who have sent so much money into the campaign, because believe me, that gets the attention. Of course, we can't operate without it, but it gets the attention of a lot of the others. They know that we are viable, and they know that we are more than a few people that are involved. You know, in recent days, I imagine the two things that come to mind to me about what has happened is right before Super Tuesday, you know, I stopped in Minneapolis, and we had a rally at the University of Minnesota there in Minneapolis, and it was unbelievable. There were over 4,000, I think the count was 4,200, mostly students, but a lot of others that came in, and it was really a great rally. Of course, the disappointing thing is that we don't see that translated into a super majority at the polls, but quite frankly, it's very understandable from my viewpoint, because we're not just taking on a few individuals, we're taking on the entire establishment. We're taking on 100 years or so of statism, so we should be very pleased with the success that we've had, and the young people are responding very, very favorably. But today, I am in D.C. I've made my votes this week, which is very important because I'm still making sure that I can win this election in Texas in the congressional seat, because if we don't go all the way in the presidential race, we cannot give up this congressional seat, and that our primary will be coming up on March 4th. So I am here and voting, but also today CPAC met in Washington, D.C., and generally over the last 10 years or so, I've always tried to hint to CPAC leaders that I'd like to speak, but they were never quite willing to. This year I did get the invitation. I got my 30 minutes, and I was very, very leery about how it would work, because they welcomed people like Cheney and others, and yet I felt very good about it. The crowd responded. They're young people that are interested in new ideas, and afterwards the response was tremendous. I thought it was almost like a Ron Paul rally where people come up and want to visit and get pictures also. We had literally hundreds and hundreds of young college kids who are not necessarily in our camp but heard the message, and they were very, very favorable. But of course today we all know that Romney is about out of the race, and it's been have made it very clear that as long as there's a group of individual supporters who are willing to support what we're doing, and our numbers keep growing, and the money is there to do it, I'm not going to drop out of the race, because this is what it's all about. We are getting more support, and we're getting more delegates. There's probably between 40 and 50 delegates that we have had. And with the Romney people dropping out, who knows what will happen. It's very interesting tonight what happened. After being at CPAC and Romney dropping out, I go on the House floor and visit with my close friends and people who might reveal what they're thinking about. And it was astounding to me, and this was also on national TV, when Thad Cochran announced on national television that national television that it sent chills down his spine to think of a McCain presidency, and therefore they were all talking behind the scenes about what it really means, and the type of individual he is, and the temper he has. So here we are. We're down 3 candidates in the race. So who knows what will happen? We certainly are in that category where they think it's a shoe-in for us. But there's a lot of time yet between now and the election. A lot of things can transpire. We don't know what the future will bring. We don't know how strong this attitude will be about what people really know about and the things that they really worry about. So our message of freedom and limited government and sound money and a sensible foreign policy, I don't think that we have to give up on that right now in this particular campaign. I think in this campaign we still have a long way to go. But, even if this campaign is not successful, what I have noticed and what I am sensing is that when I go to the university and the response that we get is just utterly fantastic. that everybody I talk to talks about. Don't let it stop. Everybody knows this is the beginning and not the end. So it is, to me, a tremendous opportunity. I am so pleased that people have placed confidence in what I have done. But it's really a lot less about me than about you and you as individuals, the things that we have believed in for a long time and the opportunity that has presented to us. And right now, I think this opportunity is available to us because of the recognition of the total failure of government, the failure of our foreign policy, the failure of our monetary system, the failure of our fiscal policy, the failure of our government to protect our liberties. And the young people especially are so much aware of this. They'll say, look, what kind of a bad deal am I getting? I'm getting less freedom, less chance to keep what I earn, less chance that I won't have to go and fight some stupid war overseas. And they are very much aware of this. So it's, to me, as much of opportunity as anything. The great danger, of course, is when we hit our financial crisis, which I'm absolutely certain will come, is that it can go in the other direction. There will be more tyranny. Because so far since the 9/11, we have lost a lot of our freedoms, and we've had a downturn in our economy. Now we're starting to pay for this. But also, it gives us a chance to say, if government isn't working, what is the answer? But we don't even have to invent some new answer at all. All we have to do is look at the traditions that have been American traditions, our Constitution, limited government property rights, voluntary contracts, sound money, and a foreign policy that at one time the Republicans were strongly supportive of. And that is, mind our own business and be friends with people and trade with people. That's what the founders talked to us about. So we see now as this is an opportunity, even though it's a risky opportunity, but the one thing for sure that we know is we cannot continue to do what we're doing. Not because all of a sudden we're going to have a people who rise up and they're going to be all wise, but because financially we can't afford it. And all revolution starts with a small number of people who are determined, understand it, stand on principle, and then when the need comes and the message is out there, they will respond. All revolutions have been led by young people. If you just think of the TV images of whether it's Tiananmen Square or whether it's the revolts in Central America or Europe, it's the young people, it's the college people who are more principled and not locked in and they're not embedded with the government. They are the ones who are concerned about the future because the future is theirs. So that is where I'm tremendously encouraged. A lot of people give me credit for encouraging the young people, and yet to me it's the young people's response to this message that gives me so much encouragement. So the way I see it, we should continue to do exactly what we're doing. We'll see how far the campaign can go. But then we have to, at a particular point, we have to lay another plan. We have to say, how are we going to continue this? But what we cannot do is let this thing just drop, because there have been more people energized and more money sent to this campaign, and we have to realize that it's up to us to maintain this, and we might not have another opportunity. We have to take this opportunity and use it, keep our people together, and yet at the same time we stick together and we make our plans, but it's still a spontaneous thing. Every single individual has a responsibility to do whatever they can to promote this cause. And like I said, it's not brand new. It's part of the original American Revolution, and quite frankly, I think the American people and the country and the world, matter of fact, are ready for it. You can't imagine how many people around the world are responding to this. They're listening to this. They're hearing the message. You'd never believe it when you look at the mainstream media. The total denial and the exclusion that goes on, whether it's in the debates or whether it's the evening news. I mean, it is a struggle to overcome that. But in spite of all that, with the internet and the enthusiasm and the fundraising, I mean, the message is out there. And like I mentioned earlier, the response, even in a group that I thought would be very, very tough to crack, the Conservative Political Action Committee that, that was so enthusiastic with Cheney, believe me, when they heard this message, they responded in a very, very favorable manner. So I would say to those of you who have joined us in this